This is my first time in South Africa, and since we arrived, I've been incredibly curious about the effect apartheid had on the lives of people we see every day and the health system we've worked so closely with this month.
To learn more about the impact apartheid had on people in the Bito region, we interviewed 4 people about its effects on South Africa's health system, society, and their own lives.
First, we will hear from Elise, a colored home-based care worker.
Do you have any memories when you were younger of seeing what apartheid was, like what it meant, the system?
Not really. Because the coloureds and the blacks, they help each other, but now, coloureds is on their side and the blacks is on their side, so I really don't know.
Leroy, a first-generation white South African, answers the same question.
So the town that I grew up in is very, very apartheid orientated, and but my father and my mom knew about it, and so they tried to prevent, as far as they possibly could, for us kids not to experience it and not to see it happening. I didn't understand at the age of 10, 11, why is it one man is allowed to walk there and the other one is not allowed to. It was there, but I didn't experience it firsthand until I was called up to do my national compulsory service here, that I started experiencing that from the war side of things, that you had to calm down riots in townships. And then I actually started understanding that there's actually apartheid is a big thing.
Mandy, a white South African and director of Plet 8.
And when I was about 5 or 6, I came back from the farm, and I had a working mother, so I was very much left to my own devices, and I was running along the pavement, and an elderly black gentleman was coming towards me with a suit and a very smart hat, and I knew what to do, of course, so I stepped off the pavement to let him by, and he stepped off the pavement at the same time. And for a moment we stood in the road facing each other, and I had a very strong sense of disturbance that what had happened here? Why had a senior person, and then at that, it dawned on me then it's something to do with because he's black and I'm white.
So what was healthcare like under apartheid?
There were some horrible things in that there were black wards and white wards. The wards weren't overflowing, they were well staffed. We hadn't experienced the brain drain. We hadn't experienced affirmative action. So it was very stable, although it was paternalistic. It was, I think, there was good health care for all. But it's no point getting good health care if you are treated less than. Our coordinator, Anne, is a coloured person. She remembers when her first child was born in a coloured ward, a non-white ward. The whites were there, the blacks and the coloureds were in another maternity ward with white nursing staff who treated her like dirt and abused her because she got blood on the sheets.
The more we heard about this, the more we wondered what people did about it.
Margaret, a black home-based care worker, tells us about her experience.
I was not going to the meeting or just, I was sitting at home because I was scared. If the people are singing, and the police and the soldiers and everyone just saw you are singing, they were thinking you are fighting and they were shooting.
It was scary. You see a lot of people die. But yeah, you had to control it as the best as what you could. There was no rules of engagement, if you want to call it that, in a environment that you have to crowd control 20,000 very upset guys that's been promised something and they're not going to get it. But you're supposed to fight for your country, but you're not fighting for the country.
We know apartheid officially ended, but as we walked around almost exclusively single-race communities, we wondered if the new democracy really did destroy the barriers between races.
We definitely have a new elite. We used to be governed by a white elite minority. We are now governed by a black elite minority. That is definitely happening. So the colour of our elite governing group has changed.
I suppose in some way it's just a reverse racism that's happened now. But there's still the oppressed, there's still the poverty. That's not gone better at all.
But now, when apartheid is finished, all of us are together as one.
In about the job description, all the black people get the works and we coloureds, we don't get the work. I don't know if they looking us by the face or at the surname, but the black people always get the work.
Do most people feel that way?
Yes, because youth municipality, there's jobs that they put in the watching plate for cleaners and on the beach and in the street. It's only the black people who get the work. The colours don't get the work.
That is not true. That's why the colored people say that, because they are not fighting for their rights.
So coloured people are saying that it was better under apartheid because coloured folk don't fit in anyway. And a lot of their culture is based on the old Afrikaner culture. Their cooking, their language, and they are a very vulnerable group and not a very united group, whereas the blacks tend to unite very strongly.
If ANC call a meeting, we go to the meeting and listen, what is ANC going to say? But you come every time to us and say the houses is going to be built, but the houses are not built. What do you take us for? We ask. Everyone can ask.
It doesn't affect my life personally, because the promises that were given and not kept were stuff like housing, running water, electricity, but I always had that. So I've never been in your shoes going into the townships and asked them how they feel about it. The only times I spent in the townships is to crowd control a whole bunch of very angry, pissed off guys. And I could ask everyone, it's not going to make them get running water.
Black people more and more saying to me more and more and over, and lots of them are saying things were better under apartheid. The paternalistic approach. But I think the people who are saying that are forgetting what it's like to be an African gentleman stepping off the pavement so a white child can walk past. I think they're forgetting, what it was like to have no voice. I believe if our caregiver or one of us is at the clinic standing there, advocacy for our patients, they get better treatment. So maybe when we turn the corner with the epidemic, there are going to be some good things that are going to be in place. Home-based care is a good thing to have in place. When we turn the corner with the epidemic, home-based care will still be here.
But wasn't there no HIV and AIDS when there was apartheid?
There were, Bill. People were hiding. You didn't know there were HIV and AIDS. You were thinking it was just infection or something like that. You can see the people are dying now.
I don't think, that days there was AIDS. But after apartheid, I think that it started because the people from all over the land came to South Africa and stay here, and they bring this sickness and that stuff.
It is so disappointing and so sad to not be able to see the effect democracy would have had on our health care without AIDS. It's too much. I think without AIDS, all the patients you've seen who've had a stroke, who need care for any other reason, would have the best care. But with just the sheer numbers and the volume and the budgets required for HIV, our beautiful plan cannot get rolled out.
The main thing we've come away with from this project is just how personal an issue it really is. There's no way to make a grand, sweeping, universal statement about what apartheid means to South Africans. And while the new democracy has yet to cure all the problems facing South Africa, it has allowed the emergence of new voices to the forefront of the national and community scenes. Voices which have all the potential to find real, long-term solutions.